different types of mount, and understanding which different type of mount you're in will help you with your retention. Okay, so often people will get like a low mount like this sometimes people will just get the mount and they're very low on the hips. Feet are often crossed behind the lower back here. Okay, and then there's it gets progressively worse for Ed the higher my legs go, so long as I've still got control of the position of his arms. Okay, so if I can start bringing my knees closer, feet against essentially the hips or the torso here, this is good, and I'm still inside the arms. If I went forward on Ed but his arms were inside, this gets worse for me. Okay, so it's very important that the person on bottom on top controls the arms, and the person on bottom also wants to make sure they've got control of their arms. Okay, and then we can get into essentially like a high mount where Ed's arms are actually opened out like this. Okay, this is even worse again. And then the worst of all is S mount, where Ed's actually turned side on. So if I can force him to turn, or he turns to try to defend something, and I end up in what we call S mount. So you can see my knee ends up behind Ed's head, and my foot tucked in under the armpit. This is great for me because I can attack the back. I can start looking for a seatbelt and go for the back from here. And I can start attacking the armbar too. And potentially in the gi, you've got some choking options from here too. Another option the person on top has is, if they can open the elbow away from the body, is to attack an Americana, which is a shoulder lock they can do from the mount. A common attack people will use in the gi is the cross lapel choke, where they will reach one hand nice and deep in the collar, and they'll take their other arm across, looking to cinch up a choke from there. So we're essentially going to have 3 different types of escape from mount that we're going to work with. One is the press, where if Ed's forward, essentially this is if he's very low on his mount, so he's almost lower, a bit lower than that, yeah. And he's trying to establish where I'm able to kind of come up and press and get my legs back in this way. Okay. In the standard sort of mount position where it's just a little bit higher, our main defense is going to be using essentially what we'll call a hip escape with some different variants on how we do this, but essentially we're going to work to get our guard back using this. Okay. And then the last one we'll cover is a bridge and roll. Okay, so that's where we can trap an arm and roll on top with that. Okay. So obviously with anything we want to work our escapes interchangeably if we can, so we have the most effective escape mechanism. By far the most common to me will be the hip escape, that second one. Right, so arm positioning underneath the mount is really important, and how we go about this. Okay, so what's ideal? Ideal is my arm actually on the inside of the leg, okay, like this, right? With one of my arms, at the very least. You're not going to do that with 2 arms. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so you're going to have one side where you're trying to get your elbow inside the knee and essentially opening the knee out. This gives me space. The more I open his knee out, the more space I have. Okay. The other role of our arms is going to be to prevent the hips moving higher. We talked about this earlier, but the higher in mount he gets, generally the worse, unless he's going over the top of my arms. But if my arms are up and he comes higher, this is a big problem. Okay, so we go back. I want to be using my arm to frame and block the hip going higher. Okay, so this is in that kind of mid stage. I'd be using a forearm frame with my elbow. If he was in very low mount, it's fine to use your hands here too on the hips. Okay. Now let's turn a little bit. You always want to, a lot of people talk about having your elbows tight to your ribs, which is really important for stopping someone from getting an underhook. One way Ed can peel my arm away is if he underhooks the arm. Okay, if he takes that underhook, look, and then he opens my elbow, I can't use this to push on his leg or his hips at all, and it's in danger now of getting attacked. Okay, yeah, there's some submissions he can work for on this arm. Okay, so I don't really want my arms up here. This isn't helping me much. I want to be focusing them down on the hips, unless we do the bridge and roll, which we'll go through later. Okay, so even when we're pushing on the leg, I still try to keep my elbow reasonably close to my ribs, so there's not a lot of space here. I almost never will push with my hand on the end of the leg. Why? Because I kind of have to open my elbow at least a little bit. Even if I do it like this, Ed can peel that off and then take the underhook from that. Okay. If I'm using my elbow or my forearm, if he tries to get the underhook, it's kind of difficult. At least that underhook to me is not very threatening if my elbow is so, like if you try and open my elbow away here, even if he gets an underhook, it's kind of not so easy. I can pummel back and deal with that, okay? But if it's with my arm open like this, and he takes it, I will not be able to get that back. Another really important concept for your arms is never expose your tricep to your opponent, okay? So essentially, I can't let this arm go past the midline, right? As soon as my tricep is facing Ed, if he pressures it, look at this, I can't turn flat to the ground again. He can start climbing up to S mount and start taking my back, okay? Or potentially going for arm bars before then too, okay? So this is where it gets difficult because we're trying to get inside with one arm, and a lot of the time people will turn. Okay, look, I've just exposed my tricep and I've given my back. All right, what I want to do is frame the hip with my top arm, but keep my elbow really on the outside of the, I want to keep it on the outside of the hip if possible. The closer it goes to the center line, the less it takes for Ed to just push my elbow and clear it past, okay? So when I get my frames here, I'm going to be more like this and actively, if it's floating, look here, it's easy to push, right? Push my arm across. If I'm actively actually pushing it into Ed with my forearm, try to push across now, that's much more difficult, okay? Just like one move we are going to go through is the bridge and roll. I'd be careful, like it can be good to trap an arm with an overhook, but just be wary, this could also potentially turn into an underhook for Ed, okay? So I personally don't love reaching for this overhook for the bridge and roll technique because this does give Ed a chance to control. To me, it's a little safer to work over the top of the arm like this, where if Ed freezes or if he tries to underhook me here, he can't. He has to take his arm out and then we're back into our regular fight. One important thing in terms of dealing with when they underhook you, so if Ed ever gets an underhook on me, I'm not going to get back into this leg. That's basically a signal that I need to turn to the other side to escape my arm. Okay, so if I can't get back here, what I need to do is turn and bring my arm back, being very careful not to put my arm across the body when I do that. Okay, so I need to turn and bring my elbow on the near side of his body, not exposing my tricep. Let's look at this on this side. So Ed takes an underhook here. I'm going to try to turn in, but I bring my head and my shoulders away towards that side so I don't expose my tricep very much, okay? I don't want to go like this, okay? This starts to become even worse. So if Ed has this underhook, I don't want to take it over the top and turn to try and get back here. Now I'm going to give him my tricep as I try to recover. I really want to turn a bit more even. I really want to like bring my head and shoulders away, pushing him out with my free hand so that he ends up over here. Now my tricep won't be exposed as I bring my arm back. I'll just talk through it again. One thing we really don't want to do, a very common beginner mistake, is to try to push someone off on the upper body with our hands. Okay, it's very hard to push someone off. And in fact, all you're doing is opening your elbow, allowing your opponent to climb their legs higher on your body and attack the armbar. Okay, so if I go like this, Ed can start to bring his hips up, swing his leg over the top, and then I'm now in a submission. When I'm pushing this, a common thing that I think is generally a mistake when with our arm positioning here is trying to push like this, okay? So a lot of people will put their hands on the hips as a way to frame the hips, but then it's very weak ability to open. If I do this action, it's a very weak ability to open Ed's knee. Pinch your knee tight. I can't open that like that. What I can open with is flaring my hand out and using my elbow pushing like this, okay? Get my whole like body and my shoulder pushing into that, okay? That's a strong action and it's gonna give me a lot more space to try to recover with, okay? So it's counterintuitive because we get worried about the person attacking an Americana, one of the submissions he might go for from here. But the Americana will be not too dangerous while my elbow is by my side. It's really dangerous if my arm comes open, okay? But not when my elbow is by my side. An important concept here is trying to get inside leg positioning, okay? What I mean by that, see how my feet are essentially on the outside of Ed's legs here. I want my feet inside first, if I can. So I can get my feet inside, that's good. And potentially, preferably on both sides. Or even just one side is enough to escape. I want to get my feet, but eventually actually what I want is my knee inside and inside the line of his foot, okay? So there's a difference between here, see how anywhere Ed tries to put his foot now will either be like inside my legs, which is really good. Now I'm back to guard, right? I'm no longer in, it's a very poor guard, but I'm back to some sort of guard if I can trap his foot, compared to his foot being free like this. Now just bring your knee a bit higher, Ed. So see this now, this is not so good. It's okay positioning, my leg's flat, but it's not back into guard yet. You're gonna be working to move and get your knee lower than the line of their foot. Can you see? Let's see that here. So here is good, here is not as good, okay? We're always working to try and get our legs here. So a very common strategy for doing that when we're doing our leg battle is to pummel your foot inside, open their foot out a little bit. Once you've opened their foot, you want to straighten your leg down to the mat, okay? Once the leg is straight, try and scoop underneath it now, Ed. You can't, okay? A big mistake I see is people, because I now want to turn on my side and get this knee in, but a big mistake I see people make is they might straighten their leg and then they try and turn by bringing their knee back up, bending it and giving them a chance to scoop back underneath. Don't do that. When you straighten your leg, keep it straight, keep it flat on the ground and try and work back. So call this a hip escape. See, my right leg moves my hips away and like brings my knee past the line of his heel, okay? Now you're gonna use your other leg a lot to assist in getting your leg down and inside on the leg that we want to attack, okay? So if we're here, often my free leg will push until I can pummel see, I block his heel so he can't follow. I start working my foot inside, okay? You can even hook underneath the ankle here. See, he can't track and follow. I can drop my knee down to the mat, okay? Now that it's on the inside, I have a good chance to recover. Another thing you might come against is people crossing their feet, okay? This one's a little trickier. You lean forward now. This one's a little trickier, but often if they cross their feet, see how I can feel that I think this leg's on top and this leg's on the bottom, okay? I'm gonna look to take, so if it's this leg, I'm gonna take my right leg, try to find the back of the heel and kick it. Once I've blocked that, I can now pummel my foot inside, even use the other leg if I need to drop my knee down to the mat. Then we start to scoop up, and that's gonna help our recovery.
So you're going to get to see 3 examples of where I managed to win inside leg position. Actually, each time that I get this, I'm against experienced opponents, and they know once my legs are inside, like they just got now, they know they're in trouble, so they tend to step their foot up, which means they're trying to go almost to like an S mount. But that's tough to do because they don't have the right upper body positioning. I've still got my frame against their hip. So you can see here, I'm working my foot inside. And once I get my knee inside the foot, my opponent will usually start trying to drop up so watch my knee here, starting to come inside the foot now, and he's starting to come up into S mount, but it's not the right positioning, and that was where I would escape. Similarly, in this scenario, see my right foot is pushing that foot open so that my left foot can get inside here. There we are. Now my foot's inside. I need to start to push his foot out a little bit so I can get my knee to the ground. So still, I don't want to just straighten here because I'd land over the top, so I have to use my right foot to help a little bit. And there we go. Now I've dropped my leg flat. I get it inside below the shin. He starts trying to stand up, but it gives me too much space to recover.
Now we go for the push escape. Okay, so what I want to do is have my knees drop past I want to push his hips past the line of my knees. Okay, it's very hard to do I can't sit up and push his hips back past my knees. And if I block, I'm not going to pull my knees just past my hips here, at least like with his weight on me like that. But if you swing your legs up and get the hips above you with your hands framing on their hips, you then essentially want to like drop your hips, your knees down in that gap, okay? And that's going to free the knees, right? So if I borrow, block it. First, I'm keeping maximum distance with the hips. This is a low mount escape, okay? It won't work if you can't like lock your hands out straight, framing the hips away, right? And keep some weight on me, okay? Yeah, so like he's trying to pressure, yeah, he's trying to like, yeah, he might be trying to underhook, and yeah, he's trying to get to here, okay? So by swinging my legs up if I go here, I can't free my knees, but if I swing my legs up in the air, I can drop through this gap and start to recover, okay? Getting right on the hip bone, okay? So go again. Hands right on the hip bone here, off your feet, okay? If I swing my legs up, I can drop my knees to the inside and recover, okay? Often it takes a few, you see like, people who are quite good with this, they'll do a few like kind of shakes. They'll be up here and it's kind of shake to drop those knees back in, because they're going to pinch tight on your legs. Okay? Do it again, but like squeeze a nice tight triangle on the legs. Lower down, yeah, good. Okay, and we're going to go here. Okay, knees come free, and I'm escape.
This grip along with one of my brown belts, and they're wearing a purple rash guard. He's Irish actually, Gavin. Very, very good. Starting from mount. So he's working under the arm, trying to elevate that underhook and pummel down the hook. You can see I'm pushing on the hips here. I have to be very careful here to stand open that elbow. And my other hand, my free hand, is also pushing the hips. Now, Gavin's gone quite low on the mount here, which led him to do this. Even though he's got the hook my left hand frame and the hook knees to keep him away, and he tried to move it, just letting my knees free. So you can get to see that full escape, but by blocking the hip, you can see. I'll show a video here of a guy at a seminar I was at who had a great mount defense against me trying to mount. He was using this low mount defense. You can see he's framing on my hips, and anytime I try to move my hips, he would bump my weight forward, and he actually escaped a couple of times. Let's have a look here. So he's blocked my hips, lifts his hips up, and then he's going to drop down, and he manages to recover from that. I believe it was 2 or 3 times he's used that. So each time I got mount, he's here. He's going to work at my hips, kind of straightens his legs out so I can, so my hips can't start falling lower, and then bumps me off. So I found that very frustrating. I actually had to change to a more side control based attack than a mount attack against this guy.
So now we're going to go to like he's no longer in a low mount. He's lower on my hips than a high mount, but it's not like low down where I can do that push escape. Okay, so we're going to use our hip escape or elbow escape. Now, the first thing you want to do is make sure they don't climb up higher on your legs. So I want to frame the hips. It can for a moment here. You can for a moment frame like this with your hand and your elbow locked tight. But as I said earlier, eventually we want our hand flared out. Okay. So I can block the hips like this, but I'm really trying to also get my right forearm to assist in flaring out. So in case he tries to come around the corner, I've blocked that, okay, on the outside of the hip. Make sure you're not doing this where he can clear the elbow and start coming up higher and into S mount and coming towards your back. Okay, so we're blocking here, keeping the hips away, and pinch your knees tight. I want to get my elbow inside the knee. Notice I can't do that. No matter how, even if I turn on my side, elbow won't go in. You need to do a little side shimmy of your shoulders first. Okay, so I'm blocking here, shoulders away, and I drop my elbow to my side first, and then I curl it into the leg. You will not, pinch tight, you will not dig it between your knee, his knee and your torso. You have to move away and lock it to your ribs, and then move the whole structure back inside the knee. Okay, so again, we're here. Okay, I've now got my arm inside. Okay, now that I'm blocking the hips, I need to be working for inside leg positioning like we worked earlier. So we turn, blocking the hips. I'm going to start working to get my legs inside and on the ground. If he's hooking and so on, then we need to have like some better strategies to do this. Getting our leg flat, not lifting our knee up, turning on our side and keeping our knee on the ground. Now see that little hip escape again? So my knee is below the line of his leg. I'm going to scoot until it's above the line of his foot. Okay. All right. Now there's a few options here depending where his weight is. All right. Right now, Lachlan's weight is very light. I can feel it. It's very light on this leg. I'm going to be able to move this leg pretty easily. Okay? And he's very heavy on his left leg. All right. It'll be different if he did it the opposite. Okay. Because when he goes heavy on this leg, I can't move that leg well, and I'm gonna have to do something else. Okay, but he's quite light. He's quite heavy on his other leg. All right. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna scoop my leg over the top of the ankle and use that to trap the leg. So now I have what we call quarter guard. All right. This is still a pretty bad position. Oh, sorry, three-quarter mount, I should say. This is still a reasonably bad position to be in, but it's an improvement on where we were. Okay. From here, look at the way I've hooked. I haven't just hooked here. I really curl my foot back. Okay, this now will allow so if he tries to free this foot, it should be stuck by that. It's not just like holding on here. He could step it out if he wanted. Right. To really free it, and then I'm gonna bring my left knee up and start to scoot out to the side. Okay. From here, I can start to frame and bring my legs in front. Okay. So let's turn. Frame the hips, elbow to your ribs. Tight. Okay, position, good. Frame the hips, elbow to the ribs, and bring that back in. Okay. Get your legs to the inside. Okay, keep this tight. Here I have to make sure my elbow flares out so I can actually like work against that leg a bit. Okay. If he keeps that really tight, pinch that tight, you won't beat that with your arm here. So turning it out, opening that, I hook this nice and tight, and I start to bring my leg back in. Okay. Once my leg starts to come back through, I can start to frame, flip out, and recover back to a half guard. So I want to turn my hips the other way. Sometimes when we do this escape, we get to here, we get our leg to the inside, we scoot to that three-quarter mount position. Now Lockie might go heavy on this leg, okay? And now it's hard to recover there. When this is the case, instead of trying to get back to half guard, I'm not gonna be able to like push that leg and free my right leg. What I do is I use my elbow on the outside of the hip to push his hips this way, okay? Now go back. Because he's heavy on that side, I can actually kind of force that, and I use my bottom leg to the ground to move my hips back and get my top knee back through, okay, in this space. All right. Now, if he stays away, I start to push him away and I'll recover. Usually he's gonna start putting his weight back, and I can use that to recover with my knee in the middle. Okay, so it becomes like a hook. Again. So we're framing, elbow goes in, feet to the ground, and you work your knee inside the leg. Scoot to here, we've caught the leg, but this time it goes heavy. Okay, from here, pushing away and moving my hips back. Get your knee through that gap. Okay, all right, from here I'm just gonna frame, put my knee in front, and start to recover from here. All right. If Lachlan's very heavy on this near side leg that I'm trying to escape with, I'm now going to try to open up the other leg with my hips. Okay, this is one that is really works really well, but I want to make sure everyone does this right. Okay, so essentially, when he's heavy on this, you'll get your frame that can stay heavy on this leg, but you're not going to be able to move that leg. Okay, but he can't be heavy on this and also be really heavy on the other leg. So that's what we're going to attack. Okay, so let me show you now what we do on the other side. So I'm going to now open this leg out with my hips. I block here. I get my legs inside again, and I start to move my hips out. Okay, like so. Okay. I'll go through what my arms are doing in a moment, but you see how I've stretched his leg out open? I can now bring my leg back in front, and this is actually to a position we call single leg X guard. You can turn a little bit just to show them. No, another way so they can see. My knees in the middle and my foot's on the outside of the hip. This is an excellent guard actually to start to set up sweeps and attacks from. But we won't go through that in this instructional. Just know you're getting back to a good position. Okay. So if we go back, when he's heavy on this leg, I now want to stop his ability to shift his weight back onto the free leg. Okay. So I've got my left elbows inside, that blocks him from moving this way. And I'm also going to use my right elbow to block it. Can you just posture up for a second? My right elbow blocks, so if he tries to shift his weight this way, it's working against that. If he, to be honest, if he sits up, I'd probably start going back to this leg, so it's hard to see when he's sitting up, but I'm trying to push everything out this way, okay? So as he's leaning forward, that becomes much more strong, right? Now, my hips can move away. Let's turn it again, because it's important. So I'm pushing out with both arms. You can see that I'm pushing him out this way. And I'm opening him up with my hips pushing into the calf. Now the biggest mistake I see people make here, go back, is they try to free their hips through the gap. Okay, this is okay, but like I'm freeing my hips and it's a hip escape, but I'm not in the best position here. It's a good chance he recovers back to a good style of mount if I go with this, right? If instead I use my hips to open the calf, so I see I'm moving away to open that gap. I keep going until there's enough room for my inside knee to shoot through the middle and outside foot goes on top of the hip, right? Then we get our single leg X position. Okay, now we're talking about the bridge and roll. Okay, the bridge is actually, if you want to do this, one of the first things you might want to do is break their posture. Okay, if Lockie's sitting up tall, it's very hard for me to roll him over because he can always just put his hands on the mat. So if I do a really good roll here, he just puts his hands on the mat. In fact, if I want to, you don't really want to start rolling over yourself if they're not going to go, because you're going to give your back if you do that. Okay, so we can do a little bridge, or something they call an upa as well. I think that just means bridge, and they make to make your opponent post their hands on the mat. Okay, so if he's sitting back like this, what you can do is lift your hips and make him come forward. Okay, now just be aware, if he's sitting, this is if he's on the line of my hips, I can pretty much like block his legs, block his knees, and lift my hips, and he has to bring his weight forward. Okay. The higher up in mount he goes, the less my bridge will be effective. Okay, so if he comes up under my arms and I lift my hips, his hips don't really move, even if he's not putting his hands on the mat. He often won't have to if I do a bridge. Okay, so make sure you're using this at the right time when he's a bit lower. Okay, and in fact, if they're too high, you're not going to be able to trap their leg with your leg, which is one of the important factors for the bridge. Right. So we block, make him post, and now I have a chance to control the upper body. You're going to really want to control the arm to stop him being able to post out to the side. So I need to control this arm, but you also need to control their posture. So if I just hold the arm and Lockie postures up, now he's back to where we were. I don't like it's so easy for him to free this arm now. The move's not going to work from here. Okay, so you're going to need some sort of postural control. Okay, how can we get postural control? Now, one way is to get a good overhook on the arm. Now, if he tries to posture up, it's difficult. Although there's a couple of problems with the overhook. One, he has an underhook as well, so it's possible he turns my arm into a very bad position, right? Like by bringing it high, and then I ended up in a very bad form of mount. The other problem is he could potentially post on the hand because I'm only trapping at the elbow. Put your hand out. He might still be able to post, and then it's very hard to take him over when he's posted so wide. I need to really remove this arm, right? But if you get a good overhook, sometimes you'll catch it, and the arm will get like almost stuck under your body like this. Okay, this might work quite well. Okay. One easier way is to trap above the elbow line. Okay, so if I go here and I lock this elbow down by my side, or I like to do this often gripping onto the head as well. Now if he tries to posture up, he can't, and if he tries to post, he can't as well. Okay, it's a little looser grip. Like he's more likely to free this arm than if I was to overhook it, but at least it's harder for him to post. And the other thing I like about this particular grip is it's not an underhook. So if it doesn't work, I don't end up in a really bad spot compared to giving him this. Okay, so another option is when you bridge to bring them down, to come under, chop that elbow and try to connect some sort of grip around their upper body and that arm, locking the hand in and keeping the posture broken. Okay, once I have this, I need to make sure, if you haven't already, that your foot goes outside their leg. Okay, I'm going to bring him this, like you're going to take him over this side. If you trap the arm, let's say however you trap the arm, but he's able to step up on the leg, it's not going to work. Okay, if you also trap the leg, now he has nothing to post on that way. So as long as I can take his weight this way, the bridge will work. Okay. With the bridge itself, when we make him post, we connect and take the posture here, or it could be even sometimes it's just like this itself. Sometimes this, if I lock the elbow down enough, if he tries to posture up, he can't. What you want to do to tighten it, to make their balance worse, and to take their weight onto this side, curl in on this side. Okay, take your weight to your left side now. Okay, see how it's kind of hard for him to lean out this way. All right. If you trap the arm and he leans away now, okay, I've got no ability to take his weight over. So when you trap it, curl kind of sit up and curl yourself in a little bit, and then bring your head down or shoulder down towards the mat. Lean your head away so that your shoulder, you can actually bridge backwards. Okay, you're like curl my head in too much, my head gets in the way of my bridge. I take my head out of the way, but I'm still curled into the side. I'm going to bridge straight back, pretty much straight backwards over my shoulder, not sideways at first. Okay, it gives you a better bridge. So I go back and then over the top. Okay. Now, so if I do this without locking for a moment, when we do our bridge, side curling in, head comes away, looking back. So now I can go straight back over this shoulder and get his weight forward. Okay. Once the weight is forward, I can start to step over and then come up on top. If you try to bridge sideways, it's a different action. Like if I try to take him this way, it's very difficult. Really, we always want to go, once we lock our grip in, we want to go forwards first and then over to the side.